What's going on, Phenoms? We are back with another review. This time we did something a little different with the film. We actually went ahead and did a documentary. um, so we did a documentary. We watched it over Hillsong, a mega church exposed. And I just want to lay out a few points about this documentary. Myself, I am a Christian, so I did do my best to go in with an open mind and an open view of it's not an attack on my faith, but as in just seeing how they went about trying to expose this church. Because a lot of times when people try to expose a church, they're trying to expose the churches, and try to put them all together. And, it doesn't have a really good connotation to it. And I understand that there's a lot of church hurt that goes on, but I did go into it with an open mind, as if I wasn't Christian and trying to be very unbiased about it. So let's get into it. So Hillsong, a mega church exposed. So Hillsong started out in Sydney, Australia, and their first argument is that they try to hypnotize you with music. Now, in my opinion, I don't believe as an argumentative basis that these were valid points that they could put up. Like throughout the whole thing, it just was, okay, well, this is this and this is that. It wasn't really something strong that would make you turn away from the church. It was, well, the music was hypnotizing you because it sounds more modern and something you could play in the car because it's more contemporary and stuff like that. And it's trying to draw the young kids in. And I think that that's music's job anyway. But what happens behind the music is the words. They put up an argument in saying that it was the chord progressions that was making you feel this way rather than God. And how can you say that if that relationship with you and God is personal? You know what I mean? It was just, that it was not really strong points that they were trying to make to expose this church. And I mean, as the church, they're really attacking faith rather than the people who are in control of the building or the organization. And when you're dealing with people, you have to understand that all people are flawed. So it was really just, well, this is a church and it's not supposed to be this way. What person have you met that is perfect up under the sun? What person have you met? Because I'd like to meet that person. And if not, if they are perfect, they're a narcissist. Because obviously they can do no wrong to themselves. What person? They were talking about Carl Lentz and his adultery. And granted, this is okay. I will say this: it's not even a good point. It's just a flawed person, and whether his intentions or not, the Bible discusses about intent and false prophecies and false prophets and all that type of stuff. So it was just really like just sitting there. Okay, you have to, your discernment teaches you about the fruit of the spirit. So I was really just watching it and I was like, okay, well, yeah. When he was wearing these shorts and he was showing his V, people were saying that, I did deem that as inappropriate to be walking around in public like that. I mean, you can be at home and stuff like that, but as a pastor, you should hold yourself not to be trying to look lustful. I'm not saying that you can't have your shirt off and all that type of stuff, but it's like certain parts of your body that you're trying to be too revealing as such. And I think in that role, there's things you don't, there's lines you don't cross in certain roles and stuff. And you took on that role. You want to be different, and you want to be see, the thing about Christianity is you're not supposed to be like everybody else. You're not supposed to be of the world. But I don't believe that the music necessarily is a sin. I don't believe that the points that they were making now, because I think that you can make some very valid points, or I think there was some eyebrow raisers and stuff like that with churches, but that's churches in general. I have a show called Dr. Graham, which is kind of telling you the things and the politics and all that type of stuff that can go behind the pulpit, which is exposing it. And I'm a Christian myself. But, it was, we were coming after flawed people, and it's more so these people are so flawed. So why do you believe this way? It doesn't correlate. You know what I mean? People have always been flawed. Olympus is fallen. You know what I mean? People always cause their own destruction, and we're acting like this is something new up under the sun, and it's not. People's own greed has gotten in front of them, but it was an attack. It's the documentary disguises itself as an attack on the church, but it's an attack on the faith, and they have to just understand that it's not even the church, it's just the people. It's just the people at the end of the day. The most valid point that I saw was, I guess, the cover-up of sexual assault, which was true and valid. And the young lady was valid in how she felt and all that type of stuff. But she was the only one who I came across that had this. But I don't think that there's a process with everything. And you can feel, and I've completely talked about feelings before in personal references and other podcasts that I used to do and stuff. But your feelings are not always factual to reality. Your feelings are real to you, and they're valid and stuff, but they're always not factual to reality. And the reality and such is there's processes for things and stuff like that. I'm not saying that there can't be protections because this is a family member, or this will reflect on the church badly and stuff like that. But a lot of this seemed like disgruntled people, and the only person that had a valid point was the young lady of sexual assault. And it was always them seeking more, but then they just blame it all on the church. And it's not the church, it's the people inside. It was the people abusing their power. You know what I mean? It was the musical director, the pastor, which have been exposed. Things you cannot get away with wrongdoing. God will expose that. I truly believe that. I know that to be true. But I don't know necessarily if this was the strongest argument you can make with the documentary. It was much of the same stories and stuff. And, these people were talking about how this will reflect on us. So we called it out. And the thing about integrity is you call something out no matter who's around and stuff like that. You don't worry about how it reflects on you and all that. That should never come out of your mouth. But the fact that you say that raised my eyebrows, saying that we called this out because how would this look against us? And I was like, you could have left that part out, and it seems a little bit more valid, but what are your intentions with this? Now, do I believe that all these big mega churches and all that type of stuff are all holy and mighty? I do not believe that. I do believe that some people are using their intent, but intent is not what's for me. The personal relationship for me is to keep my eyes focused on God. So, I believe the part of film is storytelling, and the way this story was being told, it was being manipulated and trying to dilute your thinking for you, and start thinking for you rather than you come up with your own assumptions about the trendy, famous thing to do, which is have to spread more church hurt because of the trauma that this church is causing, or these people inside the church are causing. So, yeah. That's really it. It was really nothing much. The obviously I gave it a poor rating because of the arguments. If the arguments were more valid, I would have a different rating for it. I'd be like, these are valid and stuff. So I did go in with an unbiased account or in unbiased intentions, but I saw it as it just wasn't good points to come and attack this church. You know what I mean? It just wasn't too valid. With saying all that, you know, it's been another great review. I wanted to do something, switch it up a little bit different. I will say that this review right here did branch me off into wanting to start back up my Let's Talks that I started on Facebook. I do want to start these back on the side of this channel. It'll be more podcast-like, but it will be just me. And we are getting the other podcast up and going again, the Phenomenal Legacy podcast. We're going to get that back on again and stuff. But we're going to do the Let's Talk podcast. We're going to do phenomenal reviews, and we're going to be off to the races. You guys keep your eyes out for Black and Blue. God bless you guys. I appreciate you guys for joining in and tuning in. Go ahead, like, share, and subscribe.